we give back in ways that show that you don't have to be a professional shooter to enjoy the sport and to grow with the sport.
Quick question. Do you actually drive to your mom's house, or is that your own basement?
Everyone gets to shoot their own gun this time at the same time as well, simultaneously.
It was like Little Caesars, man, when he walked up there. He was hot and ready.
Welcome to the Three Gun Show, brought to you by Armalite. This is episode 136, and I'm your host, Dave Hartman. My guests this week are Michael Boone and Ben McNew, a.k.a. Ben McPew, of Team Lincoln Arms. But before we get into the interview, a couple things. People ask me all the time how they can support the Three Gun Show, and as always, I really appreciate it. I'll get into them real quick here, and there's links for all of them at threegunshow.com/support. You can find affiliate links there to Amazon, Brownells, Cabela's, and Optics Planet. We get a commission when you make a purchase using those links at no additional cost to you. Also, you can purchase a Three Gun Show t-shirt, and Three Gun Show logo t-shirts are for sale there. There's a link as well. And you can buy Armalite Three Gun gear, which I'll have details on after the interview. Now I'm back on the road again and burning up diesel fuel to be at some of the coolest matches in the country and bring it all to you in podcast form. So your support in any way definitely helps. And this show is actually the first of many that you'll hear of my match travels, and we recorded this one in the famous parking lot of the Rockcastle Shooting Center in Park City, Kentucky, after the Rockcastle 3-man 3-gun, which you'll hear more about in an upcoming match recon episode. We had a good team and actually did pretty well in spite of all the penalties, most of which were mine, unfortunately. I hadn't met Mike or Ben before, but I knew who they were from their social media accounts with Team Lincoln Arms, and when I got the call to team up, I jumped at the chance. We quickly figured each other out and had a great time, which definitely shows through in this episode of the podcast. So show notes can be found at threegunshow.com/episode 136. Now enjoy this one with my teammates, Ben McNew and Mike Boone. Guys, welcome to the Three Gun Show.
Thanks, man. Glad to be a part of it.
I'm also glad to be here. Yeah.
I am also happy to be here.
I'll try to be a little more.
We're happy. Drink another beer, dude. I'm going to take another.
You need to drink about
Ben,
four.
so Ben's nervous, and guys, I want the. We shot a really cool match today that we're going to talk about. We shot it together as a team, one united front against all the no shoots and mics, and we're going to talk about that in a minute here. But I want the audience to get to know who you are as a person, as a shooter. So, Mike, why don't we start off with you?
Okay.
You hit me up on the Facebooks, I believe, or on the Instagrams or something like that, and you're like, "Hey, man, you want to come shoot with team with us?"
So yeah. So earlier in the year, my name is Mike Boone, and I'm a Class 3 dealer here in Central Kentucky, and I've been in the gun business and the industry for about 10 years, and I guess I have a full-time job as well, so this is kind of something I do on the side. And competitive shooting is something I've been involved with for probably 3 years now, and we have a team, Team Lincoln Arms. You probably seen us on Instagram. We're more into making funny videos and pro tips that aren't really pro tips at all. Wrapping your match shoes in aluminum foil and put them in the microwave and things like that. That's some of the pro tips that we post.
Gotta keep them warm.
Yeah, putting Gorilla Glue on your scope caps to keep those from coming off during a match. And all these pro tips that we come up with are things that we've experienced in the match, believe it or not. But yeah, like I say, I've been in the business for about 10 years, and I try to. Rockcastle is basically my home range, so we have a couple of matches here throughout the year that I like to sponsor, and basically giving back whatever I can back to the sport. And even with a lot of people are, when they get into 3-gun, they're like, well, I'm not really that great, or I'm not. Well, hell, who is?
Mm-hmm.
There's
especially when you start.
Right. There's a very small amount of people that are, I guess, blessed enough to come into the sport and in 6 months to a year be at a professional level.
Mm-hmm.
I've been shooting I've been shooting for, like I said, at a professional level, yeah, right. That'll never happen. But at a competitive level for, the past couple of years, and I can start to see improvements in my skill, my ability, and even the guys that we take on, with our local team, we're just common guys. We're common guys that love the sport, and we find ways to give back to the sport, and we give back in ways that show that you don't have to be a professional shooter to enjoy the sport and to grow with the sport. And that's the biggest thing about me. So yeah, with Lincoln Arms, we do what we can to just like when we reached out to you, Ben and I, we had 2 teams in the Rockcastle 3-man 3-gun this weekend. So, with that team, we invited you. We thought it would be an awesome thing to have you come down and shoot on the team with us. We knew we would have more laughs and misses than we did awesome finishing. But at the end of the day, we had an awesome time.
Spider, sorry.
And despite our 100 seconds of penalties throughout the match, we still pulled off an 11th place finish, and I mean that's freaking crazy.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty incredible when you can pull off 11th after getting 100 seconds of penalties.
Right.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Well, Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the audience and let us know who you are and maybe how you came into this sport.
My name is Ben McNew. I also go by McPew, just as like a joke. It's on my Instagram and stuff, so it's kind of stuck.
Yeah, it's on your.
People are
jersey.
usually like, "Is that seriously your last name?" Like, no, it's not.
Well, it is on your jersey.
It's on my jersey, so I can see why they think that. But I'm a heavy equipment mechanic and diesel technician. That's what I do for a living. I wish I could just get paid to shoot 3-gun, but I'm not that good. So.
And you live here in Kentucky?
I live here in Kentucky. I'm only 2 hours away from the Rockcastle.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's pretty awesome. I
Yeah,
try to
no
come here as
kidding.
much as I can. I think this year's probably my first true 3-gun season, legit, shooting majors and stuff. So I love it. It's truly passion of mine, and your show actually has a lot to do with that too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I started
cool.
listening to it as soon as I got into it, and I mean I've learned so much from it. I really enjoy it. So it's pretty cool to be on it. I don't feel like I have anything to contribute necessily, but it's really cool to talk to you. I might let you guys just hash it out, and I'll just be here and say I was on it. But
well, cool,
I mean,
man.
I can get some advice to the common shooter like myself, I guess. But
so, how did you hear about the podcast?
Actually, I think it was Joseph Guthrie, my first or second
cool.
3-gun match at Bluegrass Sportsman League. He was just talking to me. He's like, "Have you ever heard of the 3-gun show?" I was like, "No." And then I went and checked it out, and it was I think the first one I listened to was Greg Jordan.
Yeah.
And then Keith Garcia. It was the early ones. And,
yeah, that was the first and second episode.
But yeah, they're all awesome, and I've pretty much listened to all of them, I think, and I mean they've helped me a lot.
Cool, dude. Well, glad to hear that. Glad it can help. Guys, we shot a really fun match today.
Yes.
And it was a little rough. I'll be honest.
Yeah, for 5 stages,
I know
it was pretty dramatic at times. I think.
The third stage we shot, I spent. So we were like DFL on that one.
Right.
Yeah, we were dead last. We went first on the other one, and for some reason, as we're sitting there resetting the second squad or second team, I just felt like I'm gonna pass out. So I went.
Right. I noticed you disappeared for a little bit.
Yeah, dude. I went and sat down, and then some kid was like, "You don't look so good. You want some water?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so he runs and grabs me.
I do need water.
Yeah. He grabs me a bottle of water, and I had 2 bottles of water by that time already, and that was still the morning.
Right.
But I grabbed the water he gave me, and I poured it on my head, and then just created this huge headache. I was like, "Holy shit." And I never felt like that before out here in the sun and everything. And it wasn't even too crazy of a Kentucky hot day.
Right.
But I just ended up lying on the bench in the shade, wishing I was not hurting so bad before. And then it's like, all right, let's shoot. Luckily, Ben did all my quad loading, so I didn't have to worry about that.
That was a rough stage.
Yeah, you were cleanup man on the last port there. So
yeah,
we tried to take care of you.
Yeah, to describe that one. So it's the there was 3 shooting positions, 3 ports, and there's basically 8 shotgun targets.
Yeah, 8 clays, 8 poppers, and then we had six. We had 6 or 3 rifle, and then 3 rifle. 2 different arrays
and
with
a
no
shoot in front of them.
Yeah.
And there's in that kind of USPSA kind of fan sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, and then that was rifle. So you had to shoot all guns. Each teammate had to shoot all guns, and obviously I had to engage them from all 3 ports because.
But not your guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and
one of each gun.
That's the cool part. Yeah, so you have to steal or choose one of each gun. And Mike's like, we're using my stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think we used all of your things.
Using that crap you guys shoot.
Well, and the thing of it is, like, when Dave disappeared to take his siesta or wherever he went off to for an hour and a half while we were all resetting in the
Never reset one
blazing
time.
heat. Yeah, when he come back, one of the things that we always do whenever we have to share a rifle, you never know when you may have to share a rifle. And I always like to use my own stuff. Who wouldn't want to do that? But with the the Double Star 3GR that we use and the Vortex Razor scope, I wanted to make sure that when Ben picked up the rifle that he could see out of it, because my eye relief or something may be different. So I wanted to make sure that he was okay, and he picked it up. He's like, "Oh man, this is awesome! It's cool." And then
cool.
we never did see you until we were on the on deck shooters, and then
and I just walk up to the table and I'm like, "Oh hey,
okay, bud, we're ready to go. Let's."
Well, I said it was cool, but we were. Like
you were looking at grass.
Yeah, the loading table was like 5 feet in front of some weeds. I was like, it's a little blurry. That's probably because these weeds are right here.
Yeah, it's good.
It was not because of that, and it was still blurry when I was pointing at the targets, but it's not a big deal.
So we basically burned the stage down minus our 40 seconds of penalties. So
yeah, I think we had like one of the faster times. We were like
it was definitely competitive. And then looking at the results this afternoon, we were still in the top half with a 40-second penalty. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it got bad there for a minute, but then we had lunch and I rehydrated and cooled off in the lodge there, and we were back at it.
Yeah, we had a lot of lunch. We eat a lot of lunch today, and then it seemed like we would eat people's lunch on the stage, and then we would just regurgitate it on the next stage. It was
well, we should talk about what would that stage be? 4?
I don't even know how the
steel, the battle.
That
was the coolest stage I've ever shot in my life.
Right.
Oh, really? So awesome.
We smoked it.
So describe the stage. So there's like what?
There's 4
hang
rifle.
There's like what 120 people here.
Yeah.
And then many thousands of people will listen to this that weren't here. So we got to describe everything.
So
we saw.
Everyone gets to shoot their own gun this time.
Mm-hmm.
So
we shoot at the same time, which is cool.
At the same time as well, simultaneously. So there's 4 rifle paper, 3 that are like 5 feet from you and 1 that's probably like 12 yards away. And you have to put 6 shots in the front papers and 6 shots total in the rear, which we all just put 3 in, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so after the rifle, which takes about 2.5 seconds, maybe you go to like a sea of pistol poppers.
You got to down your rifle and all run at the same time.
Right. So you were the back, so you were the one to say when to go.
Go.
So, which actually from looking at other people's runs, we actually were pretty efficient there.
We
didn't stumble around.
Well, we knew when a piece of steel falls, as it starts to fall, we know that it's going to fall.
Yeah.
We're not going to, one thing that I saw a lot of people do is when they were shooting that last 1 or 2 poppers, they were waiting for the damn thing to hit the ground before they took off. And one thing that I found with us is that we were very efficient. When we saw that the last, 1 or 2 poppers were on their way down, we were already maneuvering to the next station. So
and Bruce Davidson was giving me a hard time because I shouted go before I even had my pistol on the table. he's like, you're telling everyone to
drop it.
I was like, that's what I said. I was like, well, I'm last, and I know they've got some sort of reaction time. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, how many poppers were there? Like 24 or something?
Yeah, 24 pistol poppers.
What was it? It was 70 pieces of steel, right? On
70 total
pieces of steel between the shotgun plates and the pistol. There were 70 pieces of steel that we had to shoot.
Right, so you're shooting 20-something pistol targets just as fast as you can, trying to blaze them. Ben, you were in the middle. Mike, you were on the left side. I was on the right side. Yeah. And we were trying to work our way in while he was working his way out. And then once we drop the pistols, we go over to the shotgun.
which was awesome.
Yeah, there's like 60, 70 pieces of steel out there, and they're all the hinged targets that like to pop back up. I found out.
Yeah, and one thing that's typical for even outlaw matches or any type of three-gun nation or anything like that is usually when the hinge steel goes down, if it comes back up, it's a hit.
Mm-hmm.
But when there's 25 to 30 pieces of steel out there and your clay is what's stopping the clock,
mm-hmm.
if you shoot the clay and there's still a piece up, it's a miss.
Yeah.
So I think there were some people that were I don't know. I think they were kind of heated up about the way that was, but
mm-hmm.
the way
same for everybody.
The way that these matches work, if you have 2 ROs over a course of fire that's probably 60 yards wide or something
mm-hmm.
like that we're doing. I mean, so when you shoot the steel,
and you got 3 people shooting at the same
right.
time.
It's
It's hard to see which target they're engaging.
Yeah, you have to down the steel. So,
well, the cool thing is you could get like 4 or 5, in a row. If you got to like kneel down and shoot. Well, not kneel, squat.
Yeah,
you're not allowed to kneel.
Squat.
Right.
So from your position, Ben, you were able to get like a lot of quads.
Yeah,
and,
some triples, and doubles.
Yeah, and I think that really helped out that sort of thing.
And then I fumbled like 8 shells out of my chest rig. That's not the same as my other caddies. So after that, I got my shotgun loaded back up and just went to town on it, and it was a lot of fun.
So we shot this stage, I think, in like 46 seconds. Or
48.
48 seconds. Yeah. So looking at the scores, we were a good second place out of 50 teams.
Yeah. Somebody shot in 38. I need to find out. I need to look at that again because I want to shake their hand.
Crazy.
That was crazy fast.
It's 10 seconds on a pretty good run.
Yeah, we did have a pretty good run on that one. Yeah, I was watching a lot of people on our squad shoot it before us, and they were doing the, the Three Stooges, like stacking up, smacking each other when they start to run. Like,
right.
The guy in the back would hit the guy in the middle, and the guy in the middle was like, "Oh, are we supposed to run now?" And
yeah.
So when we were having our pre-shoot brief or huddle, that was one of the things I concentrated on. Is like, dudes, there's so much time to be gaining just that cluster F.
Right.
And like you said, that a lot of guys were, unloading their pistols and setting them down on the table, and they're just like leisurely,
right?
Like you're
yeah,
sort
of.
It's
we're at a match.
Yeah, put some hustle into it.
Yeah, right. We're on the clock.
There's also guys that they didn't have the forethought or the idea to plan that with their team. So when it came time to move, they just kind of looked at the other dudes like, "Is it okay if we move?"
Right.
Like moving, move.
And then there were a couple of guys on some stages when you were waiting to be tagged that these guys were like having a conversation with people that weren't even on the stage. I saw that. I saw Jimmy Reeves do that.
He wasn't next to the shotgun at that time, which he's going to listen to this and be like, "Oh, I can't believe he said that."
Yeah, but it was
like
hilarious.
hanging out under the tent in the shade.
He was
I'm like, "Dude, you have to shoot your shotgun now."
Like, these guys are going to come and tag you, dude. What are you doing? You're. I don't even know what he was talking about. But it was just hilarious because he was actually under the tent outside of the shooting area.
Sorry, Jimmy.
While the rest of the guys were going through, so that was cool.
You would see that a lot, because we're used to this as like an individual sport.
Right.
So once you're done, you think you're done. And there were, on that one stage that we described earlier with the 3 ports, there were folks that would finish on that 3rd port, and they're just kind of like, now I dropped the magazine, and now I rack
unload,
the
show
round
clear
out. And then
thing.
he's like, "Oh, I got to go tag my next guy.
Oh, yeah.
We got 2 more guns to shoot."
Well, in the tagging, we learned on the first stage, we learned about the tagging when we took a 10-second procedural for not tagging.
Which
and I mean, like, hell, we had to come within like a quarter of an inch of each other. And then, like, I'm like, "Oh, shit, we didn't tag each other. So, here, let me go and tag you." And then when we do tag, they're like, "Oh, well, you were out of the box. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
10 seconds. Well, but we burned that stage down. That was a really good run for us.
The first
even with the
first run, right?
with the 10 seconds added to it, we did. I thought we did really well.
I thought we did good on that one too. We had so that was the first stage that we shot of the day.
And right. So we shoot. Yeah. So with that one for for the guys listening, we started with that. We had a Texas Star with 2 other poppers, I think, out, or not poppers, but hinge
knockdown
steel. Beside of that, and then we had, I don't know how many pistol plates were there, but there were pistol plates.
Like 10 or something
10,
like that.
Yeah, and then we had 5 rifle steel at
4 by 11,
45 or
4x11s.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they're kind of tough, but they were only like 25 yards.
Right,
or something.
and then we had the basically the mirrored thing on the other bay, but you had to jump across this.
But instead of a Texas Star, it was
a spinner. Yeah,
it was a spinner on
for
the other
shotgun,
side.
Yeah,
which was cool because they put a knockdown or a knockover plate right behind the spinner, so like you can only shoot it while the spinner is like in the air spinning.
That's pretty cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah, so that one, then we had to jump over this big tube, to get to the other side, and then we went like second, and then I found out afterwards that you could run around the big tube.
Right.
Well, you must not have been listening.
No.
Yeah, they definitely said that, but we were
No,
all like, well, that's no fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You
know? But the problem
I
is
hurdled that bitch. I was like Carl Lewis going over that thing, man. I mean, I was, and then people like there was a rock that you could jump over. So like you get on this little rock, and then you're like woo, and then you just skip across.
Well, you can just kind of slide
on. What the hell's
it
up with that? You
like
know?
a Bo Duke kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Dave Horn.
Yeah. Dave was checking that out.
This is the one where we call people out.
I mean, he saw it. I didn't see it.
No, I didn't see it.
It's his advantage.
I did the redneck way. I just like jumped the tube.
Yeah. Through so that, what is it? Just a little. For me, it was like probably a little over waist high. Is that tube? What would you say? Like 3 foot diameter?
Oh, I did like I would have done a backflip over it or something. I had like both hands down, and I like maneuvered my way, my body my body didn't even, other than my hands, my body didn't even touch the tube. I just like and I was like so excited about it that I shot with the other guy that needed, when he needed two teammates.
Right.
So when we shot with that guy, I was like, damn, this is fun. So we did it again, and then I think we actually beat our time.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
that we had with the penalty.
Nice.
Yeah. So the time that we had as a team, the 3 of us, when we shot with the other guy, we actually shot it faster. So it was
awesome.
But it didn't count for shit because we weren't on that guy's team. So, but it was still a good time. So.
Yeah, and so that tube it had like some sort of stakes in it, but they just like kept coming up, so it was kind of like unstable and rolling. So it was kind of a mixed bag in what you got when you tried to run jump over it. But yeah, that was a fun stage as well. And the tagging of the teammate is seems so simple, but I see a lot of people running like directly chest to chest into each other when they try to tag each other.
Right.
And on that the second stage that we shot,
that was an issue.
Yeah.
Well, we were so close too.
Yeah.
We were so close.
And I told you, like, look, I'm gonna tag your left hand. I'm like gonna run to your left. And then tag you that way.
Right, I'm just like, touch me, whatever.
Yeah,
because I'm like,
I had like,
actually, when you're like 3 feet away from me, and you're going to come to my left, and I look, okay, I have a little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, and I'm like, okay, tag me, I'm ready to go. But
but if you do need to tag and cover a little bit of distance in that way, like just a little bit of pre-communication before you do that makes such a huge difference, because there's so many people that didn't.
Well, I think there were so many people that are used to a team match is totally different, because it's so dynamic in the way that you have to approach your stage plan as a team, and that's really different from any type of other stage plan when you're looking at attacking a stage and executing it as an individual.
Right.
Because the way that you execute the stage individually, when you have 2 other teammates that are a part of that now, it changes things.
Yeah.
And we saw that with other teams that were competing today, where we would shoot a stage and we would see somebody else shoot the stage, and just by the dynamics of their movements, we would take 40 or 50 seconds on another team, and it wasn't because they shot poorly. It was just because their communication was just terrible. It was just like, whoa, what, they were, telling the teammates, well, go shoot or tag me, or it's like they didn't know what to do. And there was one that I remember seeing where the guy was finished, but then the other guy come around, and then it was that the guy that was just kind of hanging out thought that he was finished. He had to go shoot another gun.
Right.
And like they're like, hey, tag me, and they tag him. He's like, he was like looking around like, well, what the hell am I supposed to go shoot?
Right.
So yeah, the stage plans of that are definitely, you have to communicate. That's just like in life. You
Sure.
can't expect to take your girlfriend somewhere and and if you don't ever talk, that well, what are we doing,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a big fight.
Wouldn't really matter if you talked anyways. You still
Right?
wouldn't know
Yeah,
what you're doing.
you'd probably be wrong, but
never a good place to eat.
Ben's married.
yeah. Where do you want to eat? Where do you want to eat at? I don't care. And then you like name something. Well, I don't like that. Yeah, we've all been there. And stage planning with a team is sort of the same way. It's like, hey, let's shoot the pistol first, or hey, let's shoot the shotgun first.
Well, and then we have the sort of dynamic too, right, where I don't know you guys, right?
Right.
And you don't know me. So when I'm like, hey, so we're going to shoot rifle first, right? And you're like, oh, is that what you want to do? I'm like, no, I'm asking, do you guys want to shoot rifle first?
Well, you're like our guest, and then like the more that we got to know you shooting with you today, we're like, Dave, you're going to shoot the rifle. That's what's going to happen here.
Yeah, we're not going to let you touch the shotgun, Dave.
We already actually the golf cart stage, which I was most excited about and bombed the worst.
Yeah.
You should have shot shotgun.
Which is hilarious. Like Mike said, there was a dude on our squad that did not have teammates, right? So he's
Right.
a one-man at a three-man match. So he just had pickups the whole match, which is really cool.
Which I
too.
kind of need to look at his score. That would be interesting.
Oh, that
to
would
see.
be interesting.
Yeah, but anyways.
So so he had Ben and I shoot with him on that golf cart stage, and so when we shot as Team Lincoln Arms, I shot the rifle. Mike, you shot the pistol. Ben, you shot the shotgun.
And we were all super confident, like
Right, because
overly
that's
confident.
that's our one of the things with me that I've been poorly at over the past probably year that's my pistol confidence has been just garbage over the past year, and which it's made my shotgun confidence like awesome because I've learned to load fast and shoot the shotgun fast and effectively because I hate my pistol, and so a lot of stages that I go to, I've gained a lot of confidence in my shotgun because I hated shooting my pistol.
Mm-hmm.
And then shooting a couple of regionals over the past couple of months, it's really brought my confidence up in my pistol. So today with the golf cart stage, I was like, dude, I think I can totally, score on these pistol steals from the golf cart.
And you did.
Yeah.
You did.
You did
That was
really
the only
great
good
on
part
that.
of that run.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then Ben, you had some trouble with the shotgun.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no explanation, no excuse. I just sucked. Like it was bad. I never
So
shot out of a golf cart.
And I've told the story about 8 people already tonight. When we were discussing when we were discussing the golf cart.
Hammer down.
Yeah. Ben was telling me because I was like, I'm confident in this pistol, which I've been shooting a Glock 17L for I guess this is my second season at Pro-Am will be my
Is
second.
that what we shot?
Yeah. So I have a
thought that felt
17L. So
weird.
it's like it's like a leprechaun pistol. It's like 4-leaf clover or something. You don't see them very often, but Pike Spraggins at Mod 1, he set this thing up for me and it was killer. Yeah. And basically it's like I'm shooting a PCC, but I'm actually shooting a pistol.
Right.
And yeah, that gun's awesome. So with my confidence of that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to shoot these. I think there were 10 of those.
Yeah.
And I'm telling Ben, I'm like, okay, I'm going to shoot these, but I'm going to need you to just take it at a steady pace.
I was driving.
He's like, yeah. So when we were discussing that,
well, everybody's just putting along.
Ben's like, well, by God, we're not going to stop.
You floorboarded that
we're not going to slow down at all. It's like,
hell, you're just going to have to shoot it, boy.
We're going to go full speed this whole time, and we're never going to slow down.
So after you got out of the golf cart and they come around, and I was the driver. So Ben gets in with the shotgun. This is semi-pro Dragon Nation Ben McNew, shotgun magician. Okay, so what do we have? 12 plates? 14 plates?
That's
Okay.
it. 14.
All
Yeah.
right, so we have 14 knockover steel.
You have 9 in the gun.
And 9 in the gun. And I don't even know. He loaded 3 or 4.
I loaded
he threw
4.
6
I
or
had
7 on the
12
ground.
like right off the bat, and
Yeah.
I shot 8 at 2 plates probably.
Right. So we're going along.
Have you dropped how many?
Yeah. So big top Ben has been like, by hell we ain't stopping. You're gonna get in that rhythm, and you're gonna hammer down all the way to the end of the track.
Like I'm right here. They can hear me talk, and they know I don't sound like that. I'm just saying.
Right. Well, I mean, you kind of sound
I
like
don't know.
that.
That's pretty good, dude. You should hear it outside
But when you said we're not stopping, and then I'm driving along and I hear stop.
Well, now I sound like that.
I'm like, what? That is exactly what you sounded like. And so we made like 3 stops on this 14-plate trip.
Well, the only time I needed you to really stop, you kept going. I had to leave a plate, which didn't cost us much because I spent 20 seconds telling you to stop.
Yeah, 10-second penalty on a when Dave got in there and shot the rifle. Hell, I don't even know if he shot any targets when you guys. I think you guys were, and then he runs in front of the cart.
Yeah,
trying to get back into the cart. I don't even know how the hell that even worked.
I'm faster than the golf cart. It's part of the plan, man.
So then they're like, Dave charged his rifle too early.
Yeah, there's a line painted in orange paint, and they're like, if you make ready, like the gun's empty, you can't charge it until you pass the line.
And you have to be in the vehicle to pass the line.
Right.
So I charged as I sat down. It was like, sit down, rack that thing, let's go.
Right.
Because I've done a lot of dry fire on the clock with a empty chamber on my rifle. Right. So I'm always cognizant of like, okay, we got to rack this, and I just racked it too early. But anyway, the point was I missed a whole bunch of targets on the rifle.
So we both kind of bombed that.
You kind of bombed it too, and then when we went and shot with the other guy,
we swapped roles.
We swatched.
You guys didn't have anything to lose at that point. You're just like, let it all hang out.
I wouldn't say that. I was trying to win for this guy.
Well, I thought you actually picked up an M4 or something when you come through there because it was like blat blat blat. Yeah,
I broke the trigger off that thing.
Yeah, I broke the trigger off of it. And
so Ben shot the rifle like ridiculous.
Well, the thing of it is, though, as soon as we finished, they're like, all right, boys, tear it down. I don't even know if they scored.
I looked because I was like, if I hit all those and I didn't hit any no-shoots, I'm gonna pat myself on the back.
And you did?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and they were even commenting on it. They're like, well, we're going to go count the misses. I'm like, all right. But
there wasn't any. There was just like 7 holes in each brown paper.
Yeah.
Encouraging
but I tell you what,
squad members we have.
I was talking to Bethany Harris right before we went, and she was like, well, did you see how Brian hugged the tree line instead of the other side of the path that's closer to the target?
Which was smart.
When Dave was shooting the rifle on their squad, or on their team. And I was like, oh, I bet you he gets a way better field of view when you're not, like, trying to touch the targets. Right. And so I did that. All I did was just get a little bit farther away. You see the target earlier, you know, in the path. It's not as hidden by those pallets.
Oh, you didn't mention the clays either.
What's that?
On the ground.
Oh, yeah, the clays have landmines, so you can't – or there are clays on the grounds as landmines, so you can't get too close to the targets.
It's 5 seconds if you break them.
5-second penalty, yep. But so anyhow, I shot pretty well on the shotgun when we shot with the other guy. You burned it down on the rifle, and we both at the end were like, well, guess our strong suit wasn't exactly our strong suit that we thought we chose when we shot with our own team.
Nope.
Yeah, I was over there under the tent going, where were these two guys at?
Just like 10 minutes ago.
Where the hell did these guys come from? Because they sure weren't laying anything down earlier.
Rubbing icy hot on your back from carrying the team.
Well, was
one stage. Like, give me a break. One stage. It's not a big deal.
Well, yeah, that's just the I don't know, the dynamic of how team matches go and having to try to figure out like who's going to shoot what and when you're going to shoot what and which array and stuff like that, trying to play to each other's strong suits. And it's an interesting sort of thing when you don't know your partners. Imagine when you get to pick a team, like you guys have another team that they shoot together a lot, right? So they probably know each other's strengths and can say, hey, you're going to shoot the slugs on this, you're going to shoot the pistol on this.
We have 3 other guys, and they don't shoot near as much as we do. We've I don't know, Ben and I just had this wild hair this year that we were going to shoot several majors.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean,
how's it working out?
Visa loves me right now because
it's working out awesome.
And the Hampton Inn loves us. But we went down to the Clinton House and shot the Southeast Regional.
Oh, cool.
We went and shot that, or East Regional, whatever the hell they call that thing. We went down there and shot that, and that was basically, I'd shot some Versamax matches at Woody's in North Carolina, and then I'd shot Versamax matches in Atlanta before. So those were the only majors other than Pro-Am. I've shot the Pro-Am here at Rockcastle for the last 2 years. And, I mean, for us to pick up and say, hey, we're going to go shoot some majors, just to see where we are, And, the first, when we shot at the Clinton House, I mean, we did respectable. I mean, there were 200-some shooters in practical. Mm-hmm. It was, 170-something or something like that? Anyway.
In practical, yeah.
Yeah, so we did pretty well there. And then last weekend.
You were 170th in practical?
No, that's how many shooters.
That's how many
shooters.
shooters.
Yeah, he did real well. He got dead last place.
I was
It was
going
awesome.
to say, Jesus, man, you're got this sponsor.
I might not be a pro shooter, but I did sleep at a Holiday Inn last night. But
as long as you got Ben around, tell you how good you are.
Yeah.
Right.
It's real good, man.
What a dick. Anyway, so last weekend we were down at CMP down in Talladega, Alabama, shooting we were shooting that regional last weekend, and I think there were 100-some people, 120, I think, shooters or something in practical. And I mean, Ben rocks out. How'd you do, Ben?
14th
place.
No
at
kidding.
120. I mean,
This
has been second major
ever.
And first year that he's really taken this serious. And one of the things I try to compliment him a little bit from time to time, but everybody
not all ribbing.
everybody makes fun of people of dry firing, in their or loading in their basement or whatever,
right?
And everybody's like, oh, well, hell yeah, I can load in my basement in 3.5 seconds.
Anybody can do that.
Anybody can do that shit, boy. You ain't under the clock.
Well, post your video.
But when you see Ben shoot a shotgun stage, and one of the things that even myself being my teammate, when we're going from stages to stages, there's stages that I can beat him by 3 or 4 seconds. Mm-hmm. There's stages that he'll beat me by 3 or 4 seconds. But then there's a stage that'll come up where he'll beat me by 20 freaking seconds, and I'm like, where in the hell did you get 20 seconds at? And that's the difference. I think I finished 37th or something. I still pulled a prize that I could, make up my gas money or whatever back for my candy bar money. It's not that great, but we're not in it. Who's really in it for what you're going to win?
Yeah.
You're in it for the camaraderie, you're in it for the friendships, you're in it for everything else that you make in the sport. And I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's crazy like that, So.
Yeah, it's kind of fun when you go and put yourself to the test against other good shooters, and getting out and doing a couple of those majors every year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to do. You see guys on Instagram, or you see guys on social media that seem to really have their stuff together. Seem to be awesome. Mm-hmm. And then when you're able to shoot a major match and go to a place where these guys are shooting and actually compare your skill and your level to those guys, mm-hmm. I mean, because when you shoot local matches here, I mean, we're lucky enough to have several clubs. We have 3 or 4 clubs here within basically an hour or 2 hours drive from here,
right,
that have monthly matches. And you get to shoot in those, when you're finishing in a top 5 or something like that, but you don't really know how good you are. You don't really know how to really compare yourself to guys that's all they do. They come there once a month and they shoot that, or they do whatever. But then when you put yourself on the big stage, when you go to a match that has 250 shooters, kind of like going to the Pro-Am here, you kind of see where you are. Mm-hmm. When you're at SHOT Show or something, you're seeing people working at booths or something, and the guys wearing the jerseys and all that. And when you're actually able to compare yourself to those guys, I mean, it gives you a sense of pride. Yeah. It gives you a sense of something to look to build yourself and improve yourself as well.
That's true. And Ben, you've taken steps to build yourself and improve yourself, and we're talking about dry fire in Mom's basement. So
yeah,
quick question: do you actually drive to your mom's house, or is that your
No, that was
basement?
a joke, man. It's my basement. I just see all these comments about Mom's basement. I was just like, yeah, it's my mom's basement. It's whatever. I don't care. I don't care what you say.
Your mom's got a basement.
She's got a nice basement.
So
talking about her actual basement.
So how did you figure, or how did you decide, like, dry fire is what I'm going to do, and then how did you set out like your plan to execute to get better? What was it that like dedicated you to it?
Probably going to these local 3-gun matches and getting I got super hooked. I mean, within like the first 3 matches, but I was always mid-pack.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Bruce and Tom, like Bruce Davidson and Tom Young, they're the ones that got me into it. I was shooting like little pistol matches with them, and they're like, "You gotta go shoot 3-gun with us. It's fun." So I did that, and after you get mid-pack for so long, you're like, this is no fun. You're talking mid-pack out of like 30 guys or something.
Right.
None of them they just do it for fun too. And so I guess I just started listening to your podcast and listening to all those pros talk and what they do to improve. And it's just hard work and practice. That's it. I mean, and if you don't have enough money to go live fire every week, 150 rounds for each gun, then the only other option is to dry fire.
Right.
So like Ben Stoker's book and your podcast about the TPC with Andy Peterson talking about that with winning in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the biggest thing was reading that book, because it just like changes your mental game like totally. You realize it's not about like necessarily the technical skill. Like, it's important, but you have to be able to be consistent and put it all together, I guess.
Right.
And realize what you want to do. So I don't know. A bunch of stuff come together, I don't know.
So then when you went to make a plan, did you basically just follow the Ben Stoker book, or did you do your own thing?
I did that initially a lot for pistol because that was the weak link. Something just happened to my thing.
What'd you do?
I don't know. It just sounds weird now.
I think you're good still, maybe.
Well, if it sounds good to you, that's fine.
Yeah, keep going.
I don't know what I was saying.
I like the way you talk.
Well, you started out with Ben Stoker's book.
Yeah. So I used that, and I did I probably only shot like 5 USPSA matches, like local ones. I love to shoot them, but like usually there's 3-gun going on, so I just kind of put them to the side.
Yeah, I end up doing that too.
And then I made like a commitment to dry fire. It's kind of backed off now because my wife is pregnant and we're having a baby in September, and there's a lot of stuff to get done. And
that doesn't involve you, though.
Well, yes, it does. And then I changed jobs, so now I'm in the process of getting used to that. And so I backed off a little bit, but I made like a commitment to dry fire like every night for, the last like 3 or 4 months probably. It's almost every day.
No kidding.
Just doing something. Like I'll go down there for 30 minutes to an hour is like what I would try to do. Most of the time it's like an hour. And just mag changes and loads and like transitions and scrounging YouTube like for videos from like JJ Ricazza and like all these awesome pistol shooters. Like, 'cause you can learn a lot just from free information. You just have to find it, and then you have to decide if it's applicable to you too.
Right.
You can't just take everyone's word for it. You got to try it out and see if it works and stuff. But
do you think of like a specific?
Jason Edwards, I took a class with him too, which was cool because for one I met him and he's a cool dude and he's helped me out a lot too. But so that's the only class I've taken. But it was him and Mo Shaw helped him put it on in Ohio, and that helped. He just kind of gave me a baseline too. So
yeah,
that's about it.
So where are you gonna go from here?
I'm just gonna keep trying to get better. I don't know how much I'll be able to put into it. I mean, like I want to put everything I got, but at the same time, like this is. Like, I have to fight this not being a priority, like, because it's not. I'm not making any money off of it. I'm just spending money, and it's definitely my passion in life.
Family coming and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it just can't be.
But let me put it this way: like, that child's not going to remember you if you're gone for like the first 2 to 4 years of its life shooting matches.
True.
It won't remember.
Right.
But
that's what I try to tell my wife. But you try to tell her that.
I will just have her put this on. Let her listen to the podcast.
To it.
So when, what's your wife's name?
Kelly.
Yeah. So look at it this way. If Ben's around for like the years that the child speaks and the child understands that he's there, those are way more valuable than those early years.
Her name's Bentley.
Oh, Bentley.
Yeah, so it's going to be a girl.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You might want to stick around for that one then.
Yeah, well, I'm worried because the Pro-Am is August 28th and Kelly's due date's like the 16th of September. the doctor said it could be 2 weeks either side of that. So
man.
if I'm at the pro-am and I miss my daughter's birth, that's gonna be real bad, you know. And
yeah, but again, she's not gonna remember that.
Well, I'm just joking. Like my wife would kill me. But
of course,
I make that joke with her. It's not funny to her.
Yeah, the sun's gone down here at Rockcastle, and we're sitting outside under a tree. So Ben, you probably can't see, but I am joking, dude. I'm
I'm trying to look at your facial expressions, but I've only known you for about 8 hours. So
most of it was sunglasses.
If you're serious, unless you were like passed out for 2 of those hours.
I was, man. It was rough. Yeah, so it's definitely all about like priorities in life and trying to figure out like what's most important to you, and definitely I would imagine
it's 3-gun.
A child trumps that. Yeah, you're right. It's 3-gun.
It is an incredible sport, though.
Yeah. Well, Mike, you have different priorities in life. How do you arrange your practice and everything, or do you just come out here and throw rounds down?
He just eats lunch.
No, I don't know. I mean, so I work in the automotive industry, and I'm a program manager, and you know, we have plants in Detroit and Canada and different areas of the U.S. So I travel a lot, and you know, I try to dry fire. Have, you know, I took the same approach as Ben, as far as buying books, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and just trying to get better, and trying to compare yourself as far as your dry fire or your loading or however you try to compare yourself to other people that are doing it. You're trying to do drills, and you take and look at, you know, the speed of you know, shooting a plate rack or something like that. And even with our team, we have a group text that we use sometimes, and we'll send videos.
Not constructive at all.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
I'm shocked to hear that.
Well,
no, you're not.
Well, you're not going to get any work done when Fine Ass Friday comes around. I'll tell you that. I don't even know if I should even say that, but
is that a dry fire thing?
I'm not involved in that group text. That's a different one, Kelly.
Oh,
it's not the same one.
I don't know. But,
I don't even know
but
what you're talking about.
James somehow sends us these. We get some
calling everybody out.
Yeah, we get some,
everybody get tossed under the bus.
Yeah. So we get picture texts on every Friday, and we don't get much work done. But you know, we're able to. I think we, as a team and even as individuals, we build each other up by, you know, how we're doing. Like there's been times that I've been working on just a short video on my phone for 2 hours trying to get something down below 5 seconds, and I'm like, you know, and I said this, I'm like, hell, boys, here you go, boys. Here it is. Set the bar for you, you know. And then, like, 5 minutes later, Ben sends me something like 4.3. I'm like, what the F, you know? It's like, dude, you know, I've been working on this shit for 2 hours. You know, and you send me a video back of doing the same thing in 5 minutes.
You gotta do the Keith Garcia thing where you send him your second
holds one
fastest
back.
time.
Yeah.
I don't do that. What's cool about, because I don't know, when did I talk to you first about, like, was it last, like, December or something?
Yeah, it was
November.
Yeah, it was November of last year, I think.
So I didn't have any sponsors or anything. I just wanted to grow in the sport and like get better and be involved, you know, more. And that's anyone that's like decent. It seems like that's the route you take. Not everybody, but for the most part, everyone's got a jersey and they're all, you know, they got their own thing going on. So I wanted to be part of that and 3-gun as well. Not to get anything really, just to be more involved. And I talked to Boone, and so we got, like, he already had a couple other guys, and we started shooting together. And James Arnett, he didn't shoot like at all. He was like, he shot like IDPA or something. And dude, he's awesome now. Like, it's been, I don't know, it's like 6 months, not even that.
Yeah, he shot well.
And I think he almost beat me at the shotgun match. Like, I had a bad match, but he was really good. But he's learned from everything I've learned already, which I'm not saying I've learned, you know, I'm not a pro or anything, but all the mistakes I've made and everything I've learned, I'll just give it all to him, whatever he wants to know. And, like, so his learning curve got cut really steep. So it's helped him a lot, and it's awesome to see him. He's already right at that bar.
Right.
So
the thing with being a part of our team is we're not looking for somebody that I look for guys that have a passion to shoot and a passion to become better. And when kind of a funny story I'll talk about real quick with Caleb Sunderman. We were talking to you earlier about Caleb. So
please tell the story.
Before Ben come along, I've known Ben for a couple of years just by shooting matches, and then I've really gotten to know him from a shooter and as a friend this year. But Caleb Sunderman, I remember the first match we ever went to. So Caleb's my neighbor, and it just happened that when James moved in, James also was my neighbor. So we're like,
kidding.
Yeah, we all three live right together, and then Ben he lives
like an hour away.
Yeah, he lives an hour away, and there's no for 3 miles you have to ride a goat, and it's pretty hard to get there. But I remember the first match that we went to. I mean, Caleb was pumped, man. I mean, he was like, I don't even know if he went to sleep the night before, but he was pumped up. He was ready to go. We get to the first stage of the match. They call his name, and Bruce Davidson was the RO, and he comes up and he's like, "Make ready." And Caleb's like, "I'm ready." And I looked at Caleb. I'm like, "What the hell did he just say?" And then I looked down. His magazine was already in his gun. Like, he was ready. He was ready. He went right back to the truck. And I didn't feel sorry for him at all because he stayed the whole entire match. But he got DQ'd on the first stage, and it was like, I was just like, how did you even do that? But he came up to the line, already had a mag in his gun. He was ready to go.
Vic ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm so ready right now.
He was like Little Caesars, man, when he walked up there. He was hot and ready. And then a couple of weeks later, it may have been a couple months later anyway, but we were at a 3-gun match, and here Caleb is again. And I hate to pick on Caleb, but damn it was funny. We go, and he picks his rifle up, which I can say I had a match one time where you had to dump your shotgun, and when I dumped my shotgun, the damn thing came out of the barrel, come all the way out of the barrel, but landed on my foot. So I was like,
it wasn't grounded.
Didn't touch the ground. Yep. So I'm like, whoo, boy, that was close. So I put it back in the barrel. But at this one match that I'm talking about, Caleb, he pulled his gun out of the barrel, his rifle out of the barrel, and as he pulled his rifle out of the barrel, it went off. And it wasn't shouldered or anything, but it was like, pow, right in some gravel. There's rocks and shit flying around everywhere. I was like, whoo, boy, that was close. But they didn't say anything to him. So I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I could see where where that wasn't really an AD. I could see where, it was downrange, whatever. And then the very next stage, he burns the stage down with his shotgun. I mean, it was an awesome run. And then there Bruce is again for this match. Bruce is their RO again. And he's like, all right, empty your shotgun, show me a clear shotgun, and so Caleb, I don't even remember what the hell he did. I think he racked his bolt back, and then all of a sudden you heard boom, and he's like, "It's clear." He's like, "Well, that's a DQ." So there he goes back to the truck again. But it was funny. And then there was another time. There's another teammate that we have, Drew Terrell, and it's like people are going to think our team just absolutely sucks by the funny stories that we have. But who doesn't have funny stories when you shoot so many matches with your buddies and stuff? But we were shooting the Versamax match, all shotgun match, at Woody's there in North Carolina a couple of years ago, and Drew Terrell, he's one of our teammates, and so we shot. This was a 2-day match. Saturday, Sunday. We're 11 hours from home. We left on Friday morning or maybe it was even Thursday afternoon. I don't even remember. But the match was Saturday, Sunday. We completely killed it on Saturday. But it rained most of the day. and it was.
Sounds about right.
Oh my God, it was muddy. It was bad.
Oh, and the mud there is horrible.
Yeah.
It smells.
Yeah.
It's like all greasy.
Yeah, it was nasty.
It's not.
You talking about mud right now?
Yeah, the mud is freaking greasy there. It's
Yeah,
weird.
greasy.
The grass is greasy.
Greasy mud.
It's crazy.
All
Yeah,
right.
greasy mud.
All right. We don't have that in Kentucky.
Yeah.
You guys got holes everywhere though.
We do have holes.
So Sunday morning, the first stage, it's like 8 a.m. Drew is the first shooter on the stage. And I remember this like it was yesterday. So he goes to reload. We had to shoot an array on the left, and then we had to go and shoot an array on the right. And then there was a wall in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So Drew goes to reload his shotgun. So he turns his gun over. He does a quick quad or something, and as he's turning his gun back over, boom, it goes off, and he blows half the damn wall apart. And they're like, thank you. And so Drew and I rode together. This was the first stage of a 2-day match on the second day. And he's like, well, we might as well just go home. You're not gonna do any good anyway. I'm like, wow, man. I love the confidence that my teammates have in me. So, it was crazy. But he was, oh my gosh, he was pissed because it's 8 o'clock.
Balls to say something like that. That's amazing.
You're not going to do very well anyway. We might as well just go home. We could be home. We could be home by 9 o'clock if we leave right now.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so he hung around the rest of the match, and then it's
Reluctantly.
right. Well, the thing
Against his
thing
will.
that really made him mad
God,
was
I'm crying right now. That's awesome.
at the end of the match. Like, I don't know. Some of these matches you go to, it's like, okay, we're finished shooting at 3. It's like, why the hell are we walking the prize table at 8 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
What are you doing for 5 hours?
Yeah.
You freaking upload to to practice score or whatever you're using, and your scores are posted, right? Well, they had lost a whole squad of scores, and this was like a big
Holy
deal.
crap, that is a big deal.
Yeah, like there was a whole squad that didn't have any scores, and then they didn't have any scores. They were like, well, should have kept your paper copy. They're like, well, we didn't have paper copies. Well, you should have wrote it down on something. Well, you probably shouldn't have lost the damn tablet. How about that?
They literally lost the tablet?
They lost something because there wasn't any scores. But it wasn't my squad. But
Who cares?
who cares? Crikey, mate. Bloody hell. But yeah, I mean that match was crazy. When we finally, I think I had to go to work the next day, and I think I got home at like 6:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't sleep at all.
Just enough time to shower and go to work.
Right, that's exactly what we did. And then I was dead for like 2 days after that. But yeah, I mean we have a lot of fun. I mean we have a lot of fun when we.
Oh, it's a blast.
I mean even if it's just at the Waffle House. I mean,
Right.
we try to find the one hot chick at the Waffle House, and then we found out like
Employer
Also
customer.
not me.
me. But then I
There's all this waste stuff going on.
like it was a thing though. Like when
Well, it's like when you find your car keys. They're not your car keys, but you need some help finding it.
Right, I got you.
well Chip
Wingman.
and Matt, the
Good one,
Churchicon
huh?
guys, they were we were talking. Basically, I don't even know how the hell it comes up in a Waffle House conversation, but it was funny because I was like, there's usually like one kind of half decent chick at a Waffle House, no matter where you're at. Like this one doesn't even have one. Like nobody here has any teeth.
Oh, yeah, because Kupika and is it Chip Montgomery, I think?
Yeah.
They were at Waffle House. Like, we showed up, and they were already sitting at the bar or whatever, and one of the ladies was like, are you a NASCAR driver? No.
Why, yes, ma'am, I am. I was sitting in
Even better.
after that subs class, TPC class with Craig Outson, Andy Peterson, and Brian Nelson. My shooting buddy Bill and I, we went to Dave Shore was there. I think that was all that was there. But we go to the only cafe open on a Sunday night in Hurricane or St. George, or I think we were in St. George. But there was a lot of waitresses there, and one of them was real sweet on Andy. Real sweet on Andy. It was cool. She gave him a second meal on accident. It was, and he wrecked the whole thing. It was incredible.
Accident.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it was weird because it wasn't even like the same thing he ordered. It was just like an off the wall. Well,
I stole this from the counter.
You can have it if you want it. He's like, I need the protein. So, but anyway, one of them asked, "Are you guys some sort of kind of like that?" Because
right.
those guys had their jerseys on, and Outson goes, "We're on a cycling team." If you've ever met Craig Outson, he's like 6'8" and pretty large dude. He does not have the build of a cyclist. I can imagine the size of bicycle it would have to be a really long bicycle to hold that dude.
Yeah, I was stopped at a pilot down at Clinton House, and they asked me if there was a bass tournament. I was like, hell yeah, old man Bill Dancer. We're gonna catch us some bass.
Kelly's gone with me to the last 2 regionals. Well, the only 2 regionals I've shot so far, and so we made like a little mini trip together out of it, And this last one, we were going down the interstate, and she's like, she's pregnant, and all she wants is like shrimp.
Shrimp, yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but that's like the only thing she'll eat.
Aren't you not supposed to have shrimp? I don't know.
No,
judge.
it's shellfish, but shrimp's a shellfish, isn't it? It's some kind of it's tuna. You can't have a bunch of tuna.
Because of the mercury.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So like shrimp's fine. Whatever.
I didn't have a girlfriend.
Plus,
Much less a
I don't think Long John Silver
pregnant
shrimp is
or-
like real shrimp anyway.
So she went to Long John Silver's?
No, we couldn't find anywhere
you
with
guys
shrimp.
went to the damn what the
That's
hell?
what I'm trying to tell you. Like we ended up not finding any
the Philly
shrimp.
cheese place. that
No,
you thought
she
was
said.
shrimp place.
She goes, Ben. There's a cheese stick factory
cheese
off the interstate.
Cheese
I'm
stick
like,
factory.
what are you talking about? I got kind of excited. I like cheese sticks. I'm like,
yeah.
there's a factory.
As long as you
on
don't
them?
overcook
She's
them,
like,
then they
yeah.
turn into damn Houdini sticks
like-
because all the cheese runs out of them, and all you get's a damn breaded shit.
So she's like, we need to go to this cheese stick factory. I was like, I agree with you. That sounds awesome. So we get off the interstate, and it says it's cheese steak, by the way. It's not cheese stick, and it's part of this gas station, like this truck stop. And we're both like, whatever. So we go in there.
You guys have cheese sticks?
Actually, they did not. They had cheese steaks. And they also, I looked at the menu, and the first thing on there was like bucket o' shrimp, like fried shrimp. I was like, all right, that works.
This is perfect.
So then after some like trashy trucker dudes like tried to hit on her or something, we left.
Oh, man. You have to throw down at the pilot.
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? It's nothing. Let's
I had
go.
to hit somebody with a rock.
I had to shoot
Never know when
somebody.
you had to tag somebody and hit them with a rock.
We got out of there. No cheese stick factory to be found.
All right, guys. Well, we're done with the match. We're listening to some good music here at Rockcastle and enjoying the atmosphere. Let's wrap up and go join the party. Let's give people a couple tips for shooting a team match. Ben, let's start with you.
Well, this is my first one, so I guess what I've learned is just because you think you're real good at something doesn't mean you are.
Know your limits.
Yeah, know your limits. Just because there's a golf cart and it goes real fast, you don't have to full throttle it to do well on a stage. We'll put it that way. Just slow your roll a little bit. You'll probably be a little more consistent. But the communication aspect was good. I feel like today, especially us just meeting you and everything.
Yeah.
I felt like we worked well together. So
Yeah.
it was a good time.
I thought we worked pretty well together too.
Oh yeah.
After that first couple stages where it was like, Dave, what do you want to shoot? I was like, I don't know, guys. What do you want to shoot?
Right. Well, we worked that shit out.
Nipped it in the bud pretty
Yeah,
quick.
we got it over
Yeah, we're
pretty
like,
quick.
all right, Dave, you're shooting a rifle.
Like a couple of dogs trying to hump each other for dominance. We figured it out.
All right. Yeah, I have no idea what the hell that meant. But, okay.
Dominance.
Oh, he said dominoes.
yeah.
I was like pizza or like those little white things. I'm not sure what they're humping over.
What are your thoughts, Boone?
My God, you get that that damn cheesesteak pizza thin crust, buddy. I'll do some humping for some dominoes.
Oh, God.
But,
Boone, how about your thoughts on
It-
team matches, man? What kind of advice can you give listeners?
I think with a team match, you have to be open. You have to be open with yourself and your team on what your strengths and weaknesses are. I think one thing that you have to look at too is you have to look at each stage, and once you shoot a stage, and whether you do well or whether you don't, you can't dwell on this stage. Once that stage is over, go to the next stage.
Yeah.
Because one thing I found, I think we for a couple stages, I think all three of us beat the shit out of each other, out of ourselves, because we performed how we felt was poorly on the stage before.
Because it was.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, we pulled in 11th place.
Yeah.
And we had 100 seconds of penalties. That's nothing to not be. I don't know. Maybe
I'm not proud of that.
Embarrassed of it, but I think it's just.
It's gonna be the title of the episode.
Any type of team match. I think you have to communicate. You have to know. Hey, I'm pretty strong at clays, or I'm pretty strong with shotgun, or I'm pretty strong with my pistol. Well, hey, I'm pretty good with my rifle. Well, and then we have to look at the equipment that's used. A lot of guys with this stage, even though the rules were set up as practical, if we had set up with a 1X red dot or something like that, I think we would have been more efficient on a lot of the targets that we were shooting versus having a scope.
I think you're right.
So.
I agree.
I think you're right.
I think it's just, just an overall evaluation of each stage, and then your abilities as teammates to work together as one unit. I think that's,
it's
how you can be.
It's interesting you brought
efficient.
up the beating yourself up thing, because I think when you shoot an individual match, that conversation happens in your head, right?
Yeah.
It's just like that Lanny Basham book.
Ben pisses me off all the time with it. He'll shoot a stage and he'll I'll shoot it, and it's like, let's just say, for example, I shot it in 38 seconds, and Ben shoots it in 36, and then like Jason Edwards shoots it in 28.
Right.
And so Ben shoots it, and he's like, "Damn it, I sucked ass on this thing," and I'm like, "Oh, really, guy? Well, I shot it in this time, and you don't see me crying about it, so." Why don't you suck it up a little bit, But I get it, because
But it's interesting with a team match, because now you have two other guys, depending upon your performance.
Right.
Yeah.
So
right.
You feel even more compelled to either justify your performance or to say that's not like me, that sort of thing. Like, it happened when we were at lunch, because like right before lunch, when I was like stroking out on the course out there. We come in for lunch, and we're standing there just kind of in silence, enjoying the cool air while we're in line for lunch. And I turned to you, and I was like, man, that stage was pretty bad. I can't believe I did that on those 5, or I had those 4 penalties or whatever. And you're like, well, just got to let that go and go to the next one. I was like, yeah, I know that. Why the hell did I bring that up?
Well, it's something to talk about, too.
Well, it's something to talk about, but I think also, like, your ego wants to defend your, like, I'm a better shooter than that. You guys know that, right?
Well,
I know about slide offset.
I think Craig Outzen that talked about how you got like 5 minutes to piss and moan, and then that's it. You move on or whatever. I try to contain to that too, because you cannot get upset about a stage and carry it to the next.
You got to also look at when you have a stage failure, or you perform poorly on a single stage. You have to remember that you're shooting with 150 other people. Mm-hmm. Those 150 other people have the same bad stages that you have.
Yeah.
Maybe not at the same time, but they have the same. The guys that are winning matches are not making mistakes.
Right.
And you have to get to that level. And there's very few people in this sport that are at that level. There's probably very few people that will ever get to that level. For one, time is of the essence. Nobody has time to shoot, if you're being paid to do that. But, we're leisure shooters. We're going to get to a certain level, and that's probably as golden as it's going to get for us. Mm-hmm. For me, I can't quit my job and shoot every day.
Right.
You get to a point of that, but, you just have to enjoy it, and you can't let it become a job.
Yeah.
Because then if all you do is beat yourself up every time you go to a match, then what fun are you really
having?
Because then you're no fun to even want to be around. I don't want to be around you if you're, if you're just an ass all the time because you perform poorly or something. We've
all seen those guys too that will like throw something after a stage, or throw like a temper tantrum and stuff.
The thing
that's hard to be around.
Yeah. Well, the thing with us is nobody really takes us seriously. We're pretty decent shooters. And then Ben pulls in a 14th overall, on a practical at a regional last week, and when you're talking to him, it's like he's talking about eating lunch, and he's just talking about just random stuff, and and like
chasing deer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like squirrel, and
Oh, look, pigs.
Yeah,
Literally pigs.
But I mean, it's just. He's either taking the choke out of my gun, not telling me, or something. I shot a stage with my thread choke.
You weren't going to do very good anyway.
Right, I wasn't going to do very well anyway. So
who cares?
I don't need a choke. But yeah, I mean,
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, those guys. I mean, some guys I think take this way too serious for what it is. I mean, if you have to have fun at it. And that's why I have to remind Ben of that sometimes as well when he's shooting, because he beats himself up on a stage, and I was like, dude, let it go, do better on the next one.
That would probably be my definition of a good teammate, to not join in on that, just snap you out of it, and keep going. So it's actually I like it. It's more enjoyable to shoot with a guy, like a teammate or a friend, than it is just to go
fun.
by yourself. I think. Practice, I don't know. I think practice is – I like doing that by myself most of the time. Yeah. Because you don't have to deal with other people being around. You can just focus on yourself. There's a difference between, like, range day with buddies or legit practice sessions.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, you would probably meet up every month or so or something, or whenever you can, to, like, gauge each other's progress. But I don't know.
Well, guys, we shot a fun match. Michael, thank you for inviting me out.
No
here.
problem, man. I'm glad that you accepted, and we got you hooked up with some
sweet jersey.
Yeah, you got
it's got
your
the 3 Gun Show on it.
If you're going to be an honorary Team Lincoln Arms member, you have to have the honorary Team Lincoln Arms swag. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we hooked you up with Team Lincoln Arms, and then you can rep Rockcastle Shooting Center and also rep your 3 Gun Show.
Heck yeah.
And you're
America.
You're on point. Represent America.
Yeah, it was great this morning when I got out of the trailer and had my cup of coffee in hand. I was like, okay, I'm going to go listen to the safety brief here. Wonder where my team's at. Just look down at my shirt. Find those guys. Find the guys that look like me.
There you go.
So thank you for this. And, Ben, thanks for, being a great teammate. This is it was a ton of fun today. And gentlemen, thank you for being on the 3 Gun Show.
That was awesome, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, before you take off, check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com/episode 136 for links to things that we discussed in the podcast and to purchase your own 3 Gun Show logo tee. A quick virtual high five to Joseph Guthrie for telling Ben about the podcast. Thank you, Joe, and be like Joe. Tell your friends too. Now, I mentioned earlier that this episode is brought to you by Armalite. Armalite likes the community that we are building here at the 3 Gun Show, and we have partnered for 2017. And to be sure that it is a win for you as well, Armalite has allowed me to get special pricing for listeners on their line of 3 Gun Show on their line of 3 Gun rifles, both the 13.5 and the 18-inch, as well as their competition handguards, gas blocks, and tunable muzzle brakes. Again, those 13.5-inch upper receivers have been pretty popular. So if you're in the market for a rifle or components to build your own, email me, dave@3gunshow.com, and I will hook you up. I've been on the road for a full week now, traveling the country and bringing the good times back to you in podcast form. I will have all of this Armalite gear with me at matches for you to check out, so when you see me at a match, just ask, and I will be happy to show you. A quick reminder that if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, or anywhere that you get your podcast content, so you will always get the latest one. And also, leave a review. Leaving a review helps bring the show up higher in the ranking on iTunes and Google Play, etc. And then that means more people can find the show. More people can get turned on to the greatness that is 3 Gun, and that's really the point of all of this. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.